Welcome to Asia Society's last film in the retrospective tribute to the silenced Iranian auteur Jafar Panahi. Tonight's film, The Circle, is a dark but deeply humanitarian film about a group of fugitive women. It was made in the face of official disapproval, and though it was not screened publicly in Iran, it won the Golden Lion as Best Film in the Venice Film Festival. The Circle is a film purportedly about the conditions of women's lives in Iran. The metaphor for their lives is a prison. Announced immediately in the overture is the social dilemma of the film. We hear a woman moaning from birthing pain. A child arrives. It is a girl, and the anguished grandmother flees the maternity ward. Everyone was expecting this one to be a boy. She knows that her son-in-law's family will abandon her daughter now. The grandmother runs away as the in-laws arrive, and a girl is born in a prison hospital and is destined to live a life that is confined to an ever-tightening radius. Outside the hospital, two women are on the run trying to get a bus fare. They dress as prison inmates. We meet another former inmate who is attempting to get an abortion, and yet another forced by economic circumstances to abandon her little girl. Are these women victims? Are they criminals? Are we talking here about prison walls, or is this a social reality? In following the women of our story as they attempt to break out of a confining circle, Panahi's camera documents in the edges, the backdrops, the corners of every frame, the poverty, the corruption, and the inequalities of Iranian society under the watchful eye of a purportedly egalitarian Shiite rule. In doing this, Panahi also exposes the limitations that are put on his art, which, though primarily engaged in the visual and the sensual, is by law barred access to visuality and denied its sensual pleasures. According to the government's commandments of looking, for the camera to capture a woman in the film frame, she must be veiled, even if her character is solely in female company, as she is in this film. And for the camera to depict a heterosexual connection on screen, one part must be placed astride or off-screen in his own prison, subject to execution, or again, in filmic terms, subject to a pair of scissors that land him on the film censor's floor. The direct look of the camera in the context of this film industry is rejected in favor of a modest look that gazes awry, attending to what takes place on the fringes of the narrative. Thus, the social realities of the film industry loom large in these allegories of confinement that also create the conditions of the lives of the women in our film. The director Jafar Panahi himself has recently been sentenced to 6 years in prison and banned from filmmaking for 20 years due to what appear to be still cloudily formulated offenses, chiefly the notion that he was inciting protest and discontent with a documentary that he was working on. It is in his honor that I dedicate tonight's film, The Circle, which, though about the lives of female inmates and former prisoners, is a metaphor for the ever-tightening circles that confine human freedom and creativity everywhere.